Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, everyone. Today we're going to continue our mental health series, and we have with us again our resident counsellor, Mr. Hairril. Today we're going to talk about depression. Maybe it's a bit of a, in some circles, you can say that it is a bit of a taboo topic to be talking about depression and the relationship between depression and iman and so on. So to start, I want to ask Mr. Hairril. I can just call you Hairril.
Yeah, can I?
Can just ask Hairril. How can we understand this idea of depression?
Okay, in order to understand it, we have to separate it, the modern way and the Islamic way.
Okay.
And
wait. By saying that, you're saying Islam is not modern.
I would say
The modern way and the traditional way.
traditional way.
Okay.
Okay, traditional way. So traditionally, what we know of in our Islamic context would be that I would follow the teachings of Abu Zaid al-Balkhi.
Abu
Zaid al-Balkhi.
al-Balkhi.
Yeah, he was from Afghanistan, but he studied in Baghdad, Iraq.
Okay.
Yeah, so during his time, I think Baghdad was the center of knowledge lah.
Mm-hmm.
So he was a scholar.
He was a scholar.
Okay.
He is a scholar. So and apparently, according to Dr. Rania Awad, Syekh Omar Sulaiman, and those who have studied Islamic psychology, they mentioned that Abu Zaid al-Balkhi was the first one to actually write out about anxiety, about OCD, about depression.
He was the first one to find.
Correct. Yeah, and he was a 9th century scholar. So it wasn't like until how do I say this? In the modern times right now, which is like there's Freudian in the 1600s, so on and so forth. Yeah, so they did mention that Abu Zaid al-Balkhi, he actually founded and read.
So he's the first Muslim who wrote about depression, or first person in the world?
I would say he was the first person to,
From what
the
we
first
know,
Muslim
okay.
to talk about it.
First Muslim.
As a Muslim, because he has a teacher, Al-Kindi. I'm not read about Al-Kindi much yet, but from what I know, Al-Kindi has his own theory.
Okay.
Yeah, Abu Zaid as a student, he just made it more better and made it more widespread lah.
Like
he
applicable
wrote
lah.
books, kira-kira dia tulis buku semua.
Okay.
Yeah.
I see. Okay.
And then the interesting thing about Abu Zaid al-Balkhi, his how do I say this? His experience with depression is that there are interior and exterior involvement.
Okay.
So like for example, exterior would be environment, social, then interior would be dia punya own, I would say dia punya nafs lah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's on.
Is it connected to the heart?
So-
also?
Yes, correct.
Oh, it is.
Yeah,
Okay.
So he divided depression, or he separated depression into two parts.
correct.
Right. The ones the things when you interact with nature is called, or things that come from outside lah.
Exterior.
There's an exterior kind of exterior involvement or exterior interaction. Then there's things that you think of, things that you are feeling, and it's like all interior.
Yes.
So he categorized into two parts, and he probably suggested that we deal with them separately.
Okay,
Okay.
but before we move on, I just also want to know how did he define depression?
Okay, he defined. Honestly, I'm not really sure because I've not read up on how he actually defined depression itself. But he actually created or wrote ways to tackle depression. So, like for example,
Okay, before we get on the road to tackle depression, I think I want to understand first, because it might not be so clear to me.
What
Like-
is depression?
How is depression very different from sadness?
okay, on a layer sadness, I think everyone can feel sad at any point of time.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it can be, let's say you lose someone that you love so dearly.
Okay.
Okay, and then you feel sad for that moment. But
Okay.
it doesn't affect you on a daily routine. Let's say you still can function at work,
Okay.
you still can focus, or maybe in school, you still feel energetic,
Okay.
you still feel motivated to live on a day-to-day basis. Yeah, so there are, again, I think I mentioned about the DSM-5 before.
Yes.
Yeah, so that one, kira-kira there are criteria that a person needs to meet in order for them to be categorized as depression
Okay.
rather than sadness. Because sadness is just a feeling.
So if it's based on a criteria that has a specific manual to it, and you're saying that you can only call it depression if it affects your day-to-day functioning.
Correct.
Otherwise, it's just sadness.
Yes.
Or upsetness or whatever. Then in that case, how is it possible that people see that they are depressed without using the manual?
I think,
That's a very good question.
yeah. And I actually dealt with that a lot in terms of
because-
clients coming in.
Yeah,
macam,
because now everybody, I'm depressed, kan sikit-sikit depressed.
So that's why I want
how
to
do
get
we
at
distinguish?
the distinction. Sadness, you're not depressed. You're just sad.
Yeah. So
sometimes,
so macam like it's so the scholar also didn't define, is
no,
it?
I'm not sure whether he defined or not, but he did wrote a manual on how to tackle it lah. Yeah, but if I believe, before, how do I say it? I think the fact that he already wrote about the how to tackle depression, he might or he must have already defined what depression is lah.
Okay.
Yeah, but if I were to follow on a day-to-day basis, yes, the reason, I think one of the main reasons why people think or believe that they have depression is because of social media. Yeah,
Okay.
sometimes they read, sometimes the video just play and then you need to read the apa dekat bawah yang caption.
Captions.
Caption kat
Subtitles,
bawah. Yeah, so orang baca-baca, I got this, then okay, I got depression.
It's self-diagnosed lah,
Self-diagnosed.
basically. Tapi
It's
just
self-social media diagnosis. It's not just self.
so they take the social media as their guru, as their counsellor.
Yeah,
Okay,
and-
so anyway, I want to ask also, just now you said depression affects day to day and sadness doesn't.
Correct.
Tapi if you are sad, it will affect your mood, it will affect your day also. Tapi for a short while lah,
Yes.
kan? So macam how to distinguish, kan?
Okay, so for example, if you feel sadness on a day-to-day basis, let's say for 2 weeks, okay, you feel sad every single day, and then because of this sadness, you don't feel like doing anything.
Okay.
Okay, macam you tak nak pergi kerja, you tak boleh belajar, you got no energy to do literally maybe even bathe or
Okay.
even eat,
Okay.
and then you start losing or gaining weight.
Okay.
And then maybe for some reason, you have suicidal thoughts.
Okay.
So those are the symptoms of major depressive disorder. So once you have ticked that and the other 4 criteria, which is, I'm not really sure what I remember is, it mustn't be from a medication,
Okay.
and it mustn't be schizo, and it mustn't be episode. How do I say it? Episodic. Yeah.
it's
So
just-
because if it's episodic, kira-kira macam kadang-kadang ada, then tiba-tiba you high, kadang-kadang tiba-tiba you depressed, low, then that's bipolar already. That's not depression.
Oh, okay.
Ah,
I see.
So it's a different.
But isn't it a choice to bathe?
No,
Like,
you're not.
let's say macam maksudnya macam kalau you sad, then
If
you
you're
feel
sad,
sad.
okay.
You can't do those things. Tapi isn't it a choice to like force yourself to
Oh,
get
you're
up?
saying okay.
Yeah, it's a choice for you to not be in that position.
So you're saying even if you're depressed, you can do it if you want to. Is it?
I'm not saying that. I'm saying if you are sad, like macam it is normal to be affected.
Okay.
Tapi macam it's your choice as a human to get up and do something about it. So it's a question lah. It's not a statement. It's a question. So isn't it a choice? Tak
okay.
ke?
It is a choice whether the person wants to recover ke tak. And from my experience and my supervisor experience, even I follow my supervisor punya, how do I say this, step to get out of depression. And number one is to always force yourself. Because depression, you dah sedih, you tak larat nak buat apa-apa pun.
Yeah.
So the idea is you have to force
Yeah.
yourself.
And isn't it exhausting to be in that state for a very long time?
Correct.
Like why would you want to live your life like
No, but
that?
if it's, no one wants to live their life like that.
Yeah
But
lah.
we imagine that they don't have a choice, kan? But you're saying that they can have a
They
choice.
have a
Okay, they have a choice to get out of it. They
if
don't have
want
a choice to fall into it. So by
If they
falling
want
into
to.
it, sometimes maybe slowly diorang macam, okay, I'm just sad. Okay, slowly diorang tak tahu. Then tiba-tiba they fall into a very huge hole where they feel very lazy. Not really lazy. They don't feel motivated to live.
Okay.
Because maybe let's say can be as easy as dia dah sedih.
Okay.
Then dia tengok social media, dia tengok kawan dia semua happy, lagilah dia sedih. Then
Actually,
why?
social media contributes a lot to this.
A lot.
A lot to
Unfortunately,
depression.
a lot. Yeah.
So that means okay. So at least that's clear. Depression is when you have no control over falling into it, but you have some control over how to get out of it. In that
yes.
sense. Okay. So let's say somebody comes. Let's go through the scenario again.
Okay.
Somebody comes to you and say, Mr. Counselor, I'm depressed. Okay. So what advice do you have for me? or what can I do?
Snap out of it.
You cannot be a counsellor.
Oh, sekarang I punya turn. Okay.
The mic ni. Tak, where's the mic there?
What? Sini.
Apa je lah. Okay.
Why?
So I can see whether it's going to communicate there.
Oh,
So don't sit on it lah. Sit on it.
I'm not sitting on it.
Apa je?
Nanti nampak lah the
Tak.
tu. Ni orang tengah ketawa you buat macam ni.
Bukan, I need to know whether it's communicating or not.
Potong lah. Okay, cepat.
Okay, so the question is what would you
Okay.
see research first?
Okay, the
What
first
was
one,
it?
I think I will just go back to the first question. I always ask people who come to me and then say that they have this or this.
Okay.
So again, what have you experienced, or what are the symptoms that you currently have
Okay.
for you to diagnose or say that I have anxiety or I have depression?
Okay.
Yeah. So once they have shared with me their stories, and then barulah from there, then okay, I will assess lah how bad is their state.
Okay. So it's like how to say I have a let's give a more specific thing lah. Maybe somebody he's close. Let's say his father passed away.
Okay.
And he was very close to his father.
That was susah dia nak move on.
so he and let's say he's give some context. Let's say he's about 30 years old. Okay, so he says, Mr. Counsellor, I cannot get over this. My father passed away 1 year ago, 1 year. And I've been very sad, I can't go to work and so on. So what advice do you have for me?
Okay, my first question would be, how close are you to your dad?
Okay, so the person would describe okay, I'm very close, we grew up together.
Ni role play
First question.
I don't play, I want to know because
Okay,
I'm quite
okay.
curious what actually,
will you say?
because the way I see it is a bit different and maybe that's why I'm not a counsellor. but I'm just thinking, what is the like what angle does the help come from in that sense? Okay, so if I I'll talk about my history, my father, and then after that.
Okay, so after that, then I'll ask them how religious they are. So if they prefer Islamic therapy, I'll ask them how religious they are. And this religiosity, the reason why I have to ask them is such that what kind of belief do they hold on to?
But isn't that a very sensitive kind of question?
Yeah, so that's why usually macam one to one lah.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
usually I have to ask that because personally, I have experienced, although how do I say this? Although I have experienced a part where I lost my late grandma, and I was super close to her. Yeah, and I think I was still schooling back then. Tapi it affects me to the point that she comes to my dream too often. So lagi lah macam rindu kan.
Started dreaming of her.
Yeah. So after I confided to my teachers, then again lah, for what my teacher tell me is, do you believe that the roh is present? Like in terms of okay, this one very spiritual lah. Okay, so do you believe that the roh is present whenever you hadirkan Nabi Muhammad SAW, hadirkan Nabi Muhammad SAW, and then after that you sedekahkan Al-Fatihah. Do you believe that the Al-Fatihah reaches your nenek?
Oh, so this counsellor asked.
I will ask.
Oh, you will ask. Okay.
Because again in our religion also ada some people tak percaya yang certain amalan will reach certain people. Yeah, so for me and most of my clients, they do believe. So that's where what I do is, and done and tested, Alhamdulillah, it has worked for many, is after every prayer, after you sedekahkan Al-Fatihah to the Prophet SAW, then you sedekahkan Al-Fatihah or any kind of surah to the person that you miss or you are affected by, and then have that conversation, one-to-one conversation, as though that person is present.
Oh, as well as the person who passed away is present in front of you.
Correct. Because
But then macam, wouldn't that make it harder to move on and forget about the person?
Because sometimes we are in the, how do I say this, sometimes we are stuck and we are not able to move on. Kira the grieving process lah, that the person dah tak ada dah.
Okay.
Yeah, so to slowly move on from there.
At least it's a gradual change.
Gradual change. So yes, they're physically not present, but I believe, and this belief must be strong lah.
Okay.
So my belief is that, let's say for myself, my arwah ini is present. She hears me because the fact that I believe that she's present means to me she's a good person. She's a good roh.
Okay.
Okay, so the fact that she can hear me, then I was just like, like maybe cari, nenek ingat tak nenek selalu dulu bila Hairil datang rumah je, nenek tanya, Hairil nak Milo. I said, Hairil rindu sangat, those kind of thing.
Okay.
Then I would say lah, terima kasih nenek sebab selalu mengajar Hairil. So this kind of gratitude, together with moving on slowly, it helped the client to, how do I say, adapt to the new changes. That yes, she or he is not physically present, but I know that if any time I miss or that person, I'm affected by that person's loss, I can just go to my sajadah, pray 2 rakaat, and then just have that conversation. Yeah, rather than.
But how long is that going to continue? Because if you keep doing that, and
okay, as long as how the person wants it But because to me, right, the whole idea is to get out of that depression.
okay,
Not
so
to get out of the fact that the person dah meninggal.
I see. It's not to move on. Okay. So basically, it's to come out of the depression lah. So and you see them as separate things.
Correct.
That means it is not necessarily that moving on from a family member who has passed away and getting over it is the same as getting out of depression.
This actually
that's the
I
distinction.
was reminded by teringat pasal Rasulullah SAW. Kan he loved Sayyidatina Khadijah radhiyallahu anha so much kan. So macam even because Sayyidatina Khadijah, bagi siapa yang tak tahu, Sayyidatina Khadijah she left at the macam awail, macam kira the early years of Islam, so she didn't get to witness the berkembangnya Islam and everything semua. So bila he got to conquer Makkah. So when he entered Makkah, the first thing that he did was he went to Sayyidatina Khadijah's grave, and he did his he pitched a tent there. Then he did his khutbah there and everything semua, just to, I mean, it reminded me of how Rasulullah SAW also did it lah. Like he did that out of his love and he missed Khadijah radhiyallahu anha.
Yeah, in fact, but the year she passed away was when they declared the year of sadness. For him. Sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
So I think it is similar to what Rasulullah SAW.
So getting out of So this I'm quite amazed by it. Not amazed. I'm quite intrigued by this the fact that you're distinguishing between them, because I would imagine them to be the same thing. Because once you get over your grandmother's passing or your father's passing, then you would have gotten out of depression. This is how I would have thought about it lah. Because that is the thing that's causing you to be sad kan.
Correct.
But apparently it's not.
No. Yeah, because it's
I think different orang different.
Yeah.
Maybe mungkin for you can just
Wait. Then maybe let's try.
Kira kalau I mati macam okay, move on. Party.
No, it's not like
Tengok
that.
Rasulullah picture 10 tau after so many years.
You're missing the point. I'm
Okay.
talking about. I'm not talking about not being sad when somebody has died. I'm talking about the distinguishing between
Moving on, depression.
moving on from the death and the actual moving out
Yelah,
of
so
depression.
you thought it's the same, right? As in you had the idea that it's the same.
I had the idea that one would be affecting the other lah. Right? Like if you are. So if you get over somebody's death, even if it takes like 1 year, then you would have gotten out of the depression. Not that you enjoy when somebody has passed away.
I kacau je lah.
Okay, so anyway. But why would that be so? Oh wait.
Okay.
If that's the case, then it won't be depression. It will be sadness lah.
If it affects his or her daily activity, his motivation, then yes, it is depression. Jadi if she
Okay, then you have to
Interesting,
think of it as separate.
correct. So macam let's say lah, now the reason why that person informed me that dia tak ada, he or she tick all the criteria or the symptoms then the reason why I know that thing is affecting him is because benda tu dah tengah kacau dia, tapi he also or she tick all the criteria, so because of this leads to the depression. Okay, but for me the aim is not to take him out of the fact that the father or the mom or someone he loves has passed on, because we cannot take them
we
out.
cannot change that lah.
Cannot change that, but we can change their state. So I will tackle the depression through the presence of that person. Yeah, so macam let's say, what do you usually do? Yeah, and it goes back again like the story of the Prophet ﷺ, where he did all those kind of things to Sayyidatuna or for Sayyidatuna Khadijah radhiyallahu anha, is that when we miss a person, then we continue to do what they used to do.
Yeah. That's true.
So
We continue when we miss a person, we continue to do what they used to do. That.
So you feel connected to that person still.
So that is to help with the gradual process of getting out of depression.
Yeah. So kirakan I'm telling the person, yes, the person that you miss or is affected by has passed on, but they are still present in you. Yeah. So let's say, and usually most of the time lah, I would say the question that usually clients will think of is when I ask them, if let's say the father lah, in the situation that you gave, if your father is here today, like sitting right in front of you, okay, and he sees your state,
okay,
how would he feel?
What
would he say? Yeah. So that will make them think macam, yeah, my father wouldn't want me to be in this state. And what would he want you to do? Maybe dia nak you sedekah ke apa yang dia dah bilang you, apa yang dia dah ajar you. Say I would do that.
Oh, okay. That means you are leveraging on his love for his father to think about what his
state lah.
to think about what his father would want him to do lah, or
Correct,
to be happy about. And I guess this helps him to look at the bigger picture, take a step back and then see that okay, actually this is what my father really wants, and if I really love him and miss him so much, then okay lah. So that helps progressively.
It's very interesting because when you said like when we love someone, we will do something that they used to do, right? Rasulullah SAW pun buat gitu
Is it?
for Khadijah.
Which
No, as in macam as in it was said lah that there's this friend, I can't remember what's the friend's name, that is very close to Khadijah radhiyallahu anha. So he always like macam gives to that friend, and then macam every time dia datang nanti dia teringat Khadijah, and then they always talk about Khadijah dekat Sayyidatina Aisyah.
Okay.
So macam sampai Sayyidatina Aisyah jealous kan. Okay, tu lain cerita. Tapi macam maksudnya his love for Khadijah, orang semua tahulah, all the wives tahu that Khadijah ada a certain
standing
lah.
I mean, she was his first wife.
Yeah, his first wife for so long, and she witnessed the struggles, the early times of Islam and the boycott, which is like a severe test for the Muslims.
And she stood by him throughout.
Yeah.
Even though she could have lived as a rich woman.
Yeah, that's right. So macam what you said reminded me lah of the things yang Rasulullah also did, things yang reminded him of Khadijah radhiyallahu anha. Yeah.
So that's one of the procedures lah, just to do things that remind you of what used to be and so on. But I'm just thinking about the effects in terms of hastening or delaying the process. Because I imagine somebody in depression would want to get out of depression as soon as possible.
Yes.
But if whenever they go to you talk to them about the thing that has made them sad.
Okay.
So doesn't that like prolong the process? And if the process is prolonged, so that's my first question. The second question is, if the process is prolonged, is it eventually easier?
Okay.
Or is it cold turkey is easier?
Okay. To me, I think what I usually remind client is any process takes time, and time is defined by that individual alone. Okay, so how much effort you put in depends on what you will reap or get at the end of that time that you are able to reach. So for example, your question would be me reminding them and talking about those things still lengthen kan.
Yeah.
Sometimes or most of the time it's a need to tell them and allow them to understand certain things that just happen to be life itself.
Yeah.
Yeah. So some people
they need help to see that. They need help to address their feelings.
Correct. So
that's why I say I think different people different. Like macam maybe for you,
No, that one of course lah. Different is.
you can just like I mean you can just move on lah kan.
No, it's not that. It's not about
yeah.
me. It's about.
It depends on the thing that they are very close to. Like for example, the Prophet ﷺ, he took a long time to actually. Okay, not took a long time, but he was greatly saddened by the loss of Sayyidatina
Khadijah.
Khadijah radhiyallahu anha, and also his uncle Abu Talib in that same year. And that and one thing that got him out of it was Isra wal Miraj. So technically, what I also tell my clients is, yes, sometimes you cannot see the wisdom why you are in this situation. Let's say depression ke, anxiety ke, bipolar. So in that length, let's say maybe letaklah 3 months ke, 4 months ke, 5 months. At the end of the day, you have to live your life through having hope. When you have hope in Allah, have hope and have faith in Allah, the more you go through, the more you understand why Allah put you in that situation. That's one. And then the moment, and for example, one day, let's say tomorrow will be the day where you will achieve or you will be getting out of this state. That will be like technically Isra wal Mi'raj for him or her lah. Yeah, so technically we do not know. Even the Prophet SAW do not know that he will be going to Isra Mi'raj.
I see. So at the point when he was very upset and very sad.
Correct, but because of his patience, because of his
faith
and all, that's why Allah rewarded him with a huge reward.
I see.
It's a beautiful ending lah. Okay.
But would it be right to say the prophets experienced depression?
I wouldn't say it
Yeah,
was
actually,
depression.
I think, correct.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it was depression, but it was a kind of sadness on its own.
Okay.
Yeah.
Actually, it's very tricky because I mean,
Because I've seen some people say that there was the prophets also suffered depression, and they're trying to link the kind of depression to the new age Western
I know,
depression.
but then like some scholars say we cannot link them kan,
Correct.
because it's a sickness, and the Prophet SAW doesn't have they are free from marad, from sickness. Tapi macam if the definition of depression is to affect the person's daily life,
so can we consider it a sickness?
yeah, that's why I don't know. I'm not a
To me,
counselor.
honestly,
It depends on how you define sickness.
true.
Oh.
True.
What is a sickness, right? You know, is it a disease, a physiological disease, or is it
I think it's back to definition.
something that hampers your daily functioning? Because if it is something that hampers your daily functioning, then we can consider depression as sickness, right?
Because macam I mean, because I'm just looking back into like history, like Rasulullah SAW when Sayyidatina Khadijah radhiyallahu anha passed away, he was also very down, and like it also affects his daily life a bit. Macam, and then one of the, I can't remember her name lah. This girl, she wanted to marry Rasulullah SAW with Sayyidatina Saudah radhiyallahu anha. Sauda, because Sauda is a funny person.
This person wanted to matchmake.
Matchmake. So Sauda was a very funny person. So she was like, sampai bila macam kahwin lah dengan dia ni, macam so she can light up your world or something like that. So macam,
So kahwin also is a cure for depression.
Oh,
no lah.
Possible. I mean, everyone has their own remedy. So
no lah, I see macam, because, and dia macam purposely like highlight the funniness of Sauda, and Sauda memang known to be funny, macam have a very clumsy characteristic. So macam when, so I'm just thinking macam if depression doesn't occur to the Prophet, then the Prophet also was affected, right?
No, he was affected in the sense of not how they define depression today, kind of affected tau. I mean, day-to-day life, you feel sad, you a bit no mood here and there. There is to some extent a bit of being affected.
Okay.
There would be some effects lah. Imagine if you're upset or sad, but it doesn't amount to depression because you don't find yourself in that hole, in the proverbial hole.
Okay.
So I think. Wait. So I think, right. So about the prophets lah. I got reminded of Nabi Yaqub. Alayhi salam. And I think the lesson in what happened. So for some context, Nabi Yaqub alayhi salam loved his son Nabi Yusuf alayhi salam, and then Nabi Yusuf was thrown into the well by his brothers. So for many years,
and he didn't know.
He didn't give up hope. He didn't know, and he cried until he became blind.
Yeah.
He lost his sight.
That one also affects his daily life, right? Sampai blind.
Yeah.
Sampai jadi
So
blind.
he was so sad, but you won't say he's depressed, right? Right? He was sad. So number one is the feeling of sadness is a human thing. Even prophets experience feeling of sadness, and this is also recorded in the Quran. But it doesn't amount to depression because he didn't find himself in that hole where he just couldn't function like a normal human being.
Like he can still
Yeah.
pray, go.
So that's the first thing. So I think we have to be clear on that lah. That
Okay.
sadness is a normal thing that people experience, but doesn't always amount to depression.
Okay.
The second thing is in the Quran also it says that Nabi Yaqub said that I complained to Allah about my sadness. Like, you know, because they were asking him, you know, you're gonna cry until you're blind, you're gonna die by doing this, and you're so upset. Get over it. You know, Yusuf's never gonna come back. Then he said, I know from Allah what you don't know, and I just complained about my sadness to Allah. So I think, can we take from this a lesson that one way of getting out of an extreme feeling of sadness and even hopelessness, like I think I imagine Nabi Yaqub also felt that he doesn't know whether the son is ever coming back or not. So, and his solution seems to be, I'm just going to complain to Allah.
I think different orang different lah.
No, but there is guidance there, right?
Yalah. But macam I think not everybody can just complain to Allah Subhanahu Wa Taala just like that. I mean, can, of course. Tapi like macam Nabi Musa alaihissalam, he also when he was asked to go to Fir'aun to talk to Fir'aun, he also asked Allah for support. He also asked
but he
Allah,
wasn't depressed.
He wasn't depressed lah, but there's tightness in his chest to go to Fir'aun and talk to.
But that was more of fear instead of depression. Then he said, I'm afraid. You know, I just killed someone. How can I see Fir'aun?
So dia nak support from Harun.
So it's not depression. That Nabi Yaqub, he lost his son, his beloved son, for many years, and he doesn't know if he's ever going to come back.
I see.
And he's crying until he's blind. So that is, you know, people modern day will say, that's depression. You crying until you're blind.
Yeah.
How often does that happen?
Okay, you have a point.
And then he said, I complain to Allah. As his you can see it as a solution. So you say,
my perspective on this would be that I think the Prophet ﷺ has already mentioned that in the end times, you know, we will lose scholars, we will lose, and people their faith will start to waver, you know. So I think that's where, yes, as much as we can tell people to complain only to Allah, we can tell them to keep on continue to pray because of the condition of the end times. I think that's where external help must be given. So that's where this psychology, psychotherapies all come in to help them and assist them.
Guidance.
In fact, Abu Zaid al-Balkhi touched on this also.
I see. Okay.
Yeah, so he said that internally, yes, you need to learn more about yourself, how you when, for example, certain triggers, how do you handle those triggers, and then externally, let's say for like social factors, you need an external help. So he did also touch on you need a proper external help to tell you that okay, you are recovering, or okay, this is how you should do. So something along those lines lah.
So
I would imagine the Prophet SAW kan, semua they are perfect kan, and then they are capable to just talk to Allah. Tapi macam for the sahabas and like the laymen kan, they would need to come to Rasulullah SAW for guidance.
Okay.
So maybe that is like our state right now lah. Not many people have the knowledge, not many people have the ilmu. Some people need extra push, some people need that extra guidance to get out of that hole.
I think what you're saying is, so there is guidance in the Quran of what Nabi Yaqub alayhi salam said, I'm going to talk to Allah. But you're saying that because prophets are perfect human beings, they're the best of creation, that is the ultimate goal that you're supposed to strive towards, right? Being able to talk to Allah as the solution. But because, like what you said, this is the end of times, in this day and age, people are not ready to do that. There needs help to be able to get there.
Correct.
But that has to be seen as the goal.
Correct.
Right? So you still have to talk to people, you still have to talk to counsellors, you still have to get a sense of where you are and how do you get out of this. For the ultimate goal of later on, okay, I have developed enough, the training has been tough, but I'm a better, stronger person now, and I can talk to Allah now directly.
Correct. I think that's what you did. I mean, just now kan when you said you talk to your clients, you ada cakap apa, like you leverage on their love for their their loved ones to get out from that state, and then slowly, and then after that you macam kasi to have more faith, more hope for that person kan. So macam I feel that is guidance for to assist that person to reach that goal lah.
So that is the gradual process to reach that goal.
Because tak semua orang in the depressed state know that Islam is a guidance pun.
Which is why I think it's also relevant that you will ask for the level of religiosity, so that you know like what is the baseline to start at
Okay. Interesting.
Okay, that's quite an eye opener to see what the interplay between Islam and depression is about. I think in our next episode, I want to talk about what happens if somebody doesn't get out of depression.
Okay, wait. Before that, I have another question last. Macam, do you think that grieving tu kan, dia macam lain lah. Because grieving is a very severe test. Macam kalau you lost someone kan. Okay, but now I want to talk about like those macam, I wouldn't say petty, but macam how to put it in a nice way.
Just say petty lah.
No, as in macam
insignificant, unimportant.
My husband, like for example, my husband tak bawa pergi holiday. Tengok orang-orang semua pergi holiday, that kind of thing.
I'm depressed.
I'm depressed. So macam, or like my parents tak, macam that kind of. I think benda tu banyak kat social media, and so macam when they see social media, then diorang get, I'm even more depressed. So macam, would you say that all this kan, dia punya root cause is from ungratefulness?
Ungratefulness is one, but who did he or she learn the ungratefulness from?
Okay.
Yeah. So technically, sometimes we are just raised in that environment, and what makes it more toxic, especially when either parent starts to talk about the other parent to them. So kira kan emotional dumping.
Okay.
So like for example macam let's say the mother tell the anak, usually the youngest and the sasaran. Something like that.
Bapak kau jahat.
Like your father never do this, or yesterday I told your father to let's say give me $200 to buy for you your things. Kan dia make the child feel that the father tak kasih beli benda untuk dia. Or maybe it goes the other way around. Maybe the father yang say, mak kau pemalas lah, dia aku suruh dia buat gini dia tak buat. Kau jangan jadi macam mak kau, something like that. So this kind of thing will make the child feel or act in the same way as they grow up, because their parents did it. To me, to them, and to me, how do I say? I'm influenced by it. I'm affected by it.
They subconsciously steal their traits lah.
Yes. So, for example, ungratefulness would be maybe in front of their eyes. Maybe they see the parents arguing about sini dia dapat pergi holiday, habis kita tak pergi, dah lama tak pergi holiday. Then maybe dia nampak mak dia merajuk. So that will teach the child okay, kalau next time when I grow up, I will merajuk.
So like that's a normal kind of response
Correct.
Like if you don't get what you want, you sulk, and it's a normal thing.
Do you experience a lot of like people yang coming to you depressed out of
Petty things.
anything?
No, okay. Let's
Macam,
rephrase it another way.
I'm depressed because my mother don't give me.
Let's not judge other people's situations. We ask him
Okay.
from his perspective. Have you ever encountered situations where they came to you and you felt this is such a small problem?
Macam bersyukur je lah macam tu. But you wouldn't say that.
Honest, of course I won't say that. But to be honest, yes, I have felt that. And how do I say this? And usually the funny thing is that most of them stems from social media. They always say macam, like for example, my friend ni, tapi from what I know, the husband gaji kecil. Then I will just ask that person, memang gaji dia kecil, like offers, maybe they bring the wife to holiday. But do you know about the husband's parents? Maybe husband dia punya father baru meninggal, habis dapat harta. Something like wasiat or thing. Because technically people are just portraying or using social media as a form to show what they have or what they want to achieve, and they get to achieve.
Dia highlight reel lah.
Yes, highlight, correct. So kirakan diorang tak tahu yang apa the person have to go through. Maybe yes, husband dia, kawan dia punya husband dapat bawa pergi holiday. Tapi maybe because before that holiday, maybe there were arguments. Maybe dia kena bayar bil bapak dia yang baru meninggal or something like that. Yeah, so inside, yes, I was alamak, macam like you know, like you can always wait and save more money,
There are
right?
bigger problems in the world.
So orang kat Palestin dengan perang.
Orang kat Palestin makan sayur. Makan sayur lah. Makan apa? Leaves.
I mean, I've not reached that extent yet. Tapi yeah, I've questioned myself lah.
Must be hard being a counsellor.
Tapi
tough lah.
yeah, but I think the passion is the one that drives me on lah, because like, you know, the unconditional positive regard, you know, to make sure that I don't judge that person exteriorly or externally. Yeah, because sometimes internally memang we cannot avoid.
Yeah.
Right.
Correct. You
because
feel that way, but you must know like professionally what is it you can say.
yes.
Because like for husband and wife senang je say, tengoklah orang Palestin tak makan.
Makan rumput.
Be lah more grateful kan. Okay lah, lelaki ada that problem.
Okay.
Yeah, insyaAllah. So I think quite a number of insightful things that we gain about this idea of depression, difference between depression and sadness, people diagnosing their own depressions, which some of which might turn out to be not really spectacularly depression. And then I think so I want to know, like later on, maybe in the next episode, what happens when somebody doesn't get out of depression, and in particular, I imagine that it can lead to suicidal thoughts and or even, na'udzubillah, suicide itself lah.
I forgot to ask about the pill lah.
Which pill?
Antidepressant pill.
Oh,
That is another
next episode.
maybe we can. Because if it gets to the extent where they need to consume pills, then yeah lah, I think there is it's a very too close for comfort to the thoughts of suicide. Okay, but anyway, insyaAllah we discuss that in the next episode.
Inshallah.
So assalamualaikum everybody, stay safe.
Assalamualaikum.
Bye.